Hello and welcome back to JBCTR. Now today, as you can see, we have a Caterham 420R. Now the first thing that everyone does when they get to Caterham is they create a Living with a Caterham series. And you know what? I thought I would do just that. But the difference here, I think, is that a lot of people try and do slightly unrealistic stuff with a Caterham, like trying to do a family shop in a Caterham. Clearly, it's not going to be that great at it. But as we all know, these are absolutely fantastic to drive. Everyone should actually want one, but in order to own one, you actually still have to do some of the practical stuff. So in this video, I wanted to go through some of the sort of normal things that you would need to do with the Caterham, and then at the end, we'll do a full-on driving review because that's kind of what we're here for, isn't it? So before we get into the actual review, let me just talk you through what this car is. So up front, you have a 2-litre Ford Duratec engine, which is the same one as you get in the 360R, but on the 420 variant, it has a number of modifications. The most notable of which is the dry sump oil feed. Now, this has loads of different performance advantages, which all lend themselves to making this car faster. But from a consumer perspective, there's two things that you really need to know about it. One, it helps make it go faster. And two, actually the sump underneath gives you a little more ground clearance. So here is a video I took when I was at the Caterham dealership of a 360R, which of course has a wet sump oil system. And you can see just how low that oil pan sits. In the 420, the oil pan is a lot higher. And although I guess it's not that much of an issue, it is quite nice to know that you have a little bit more ground clearance underneath the car. And talking of power, let's give you some figures. So with Caterham's modifications to the 2-litre Ford Duratec engine, it now produces around about 210 brake horsepower. Now the car, in its current form, weighs just over 500 kilos, giving you a brake horsepower per tonne of around about 420. I wonder where they got the name from. But to put that into perspective, a Porsche 911 GT3 has around about 350 brake horsepower per tonne. So in terms of bang for performance buck, this is a bit of a beast. And talking of those performance figures, you may have noticed that red R sticker. Now that means that this car has the R pack fitted, you get some carbon fibre goodies, a black pack, and it kind of makes it look a little bit more racy. But under the bonnet, you also get a plethora of performance advantages too. So at the back, you'll have a limited slip differential. Around about here, you'll have a lightened flywheel, and on all four corners, you'll get your sports suspension, which actually doesn't feel too firm on UK roads, but we'll talk more about that when we drive it. And talking of driving, let's get on the road and start these practical tests. Now, to commute in a Caterham, there is at least one sacrifice that you have to make. Coffee. There is nowhere to safely store this. And there is also one more thing that you need to invest in. And that is one of these, a phone holder. This one cost me about £3 off eBay, and it came with a free rattle. So yeah, it's probably not the best, but it works very well. Simply just clip it onto the dashboard down here, and you have yourself a phone holder. And even better, this car is fitted with a 12-volt socket, so you can even charge your phone on your way to work. So yeah, super practical. Yeah, and that's kind of the other problem with it in the morning, is it doesn't really idle, so you have to keep revving it, otherwise it will stall, and that's going to take its toll on your neighbours. On the morning commute, the Caterham was nothing other than blissful. The drive was relaxed, and hearing the birds in the trees on the way was pretty cool. The Caterham really does make you feel closer to the world that's around you. And when you're on the way home, you can take the long way back and enjoy yourself. But as As we're currently in sort of heavy rush hour traffic, I thought now was a good time to talk you through what it's actually like commuting in a Caterham. And being this small is both a blessing and a curse during rush hour, because being small means that you can squeeze through gaps where otherwise you'd have to wait, and that's actually proven pretty useful on several occasions so far. The downside is, especially in the morning, that people just don't expect you to be this small, and people just don't see you. So you almost have to drive this as if you were riding a motorbike and have your eyes everywhere. Otherwise, unfortunately, it's you that's going to come off worse. But anyway, I'm going to enjoy my drive home because this car is something else. And then when you get out of the traffic, you can really enjoy yourself. Oh man, I'll be racing Nissan Leafs off the line. They're not even racing. It's such a cool experience to finish work and have this to look forward to. I just wanted to go home. I've got nothing planned. It was just the journey. Man alive, this thing is so cool. I won't lie, a bit awkward. This seems to be somewhat of a YouTube tradition, and to be honest, the drive-through experience was pretty painless. The only downside, however, is that you do feel a tad exposed when enjoying a romantic milkshake. Now, in a weird way, I'm a little disappointed that it's not rained whilst I had the Caterham, and that is because I was kind of intrigued at A, how it drove in the rain, but secondly, what it's like when the roof is up and you're in it. But as we haven't had any rain, I just want to show you what the roof is like and what it's like to drive with the roof on, because I imagine it's a little bit smaller. Now, putting the roof on is not actually as difficult as I thought it might be, which I proved the last time I had a Caterham, and I did a little roof video which I'll link up there. But for now, I'll sort of show you in a montage as to how you put it on, and then we'll go for a drive and see kind of how it changes the car. So that's the roof on, and actually it's been pretty well thought out. So the top bit of the door has got like a little channel in it, so the water comes off the roof and goes down, and then when the car is moving forward, you've got this little flap here which pushes the rain down the side. So I actually think if it were to rain and you were to drive in it, then you'd be kind of okay. Now, I'm not going to lie, putting the roof on does kind of impede your entry a little bit. As you can see, I haven't got the knack to this just yet. But once you're in, it's actually quite nice. You get a nice feeling of being cocooned. I kind of like it. Let's go for a drive. I'm not gonna lie, I've been driving with the roof on for a little bit just to kind of see what it's like, and actually I quite like it. I mean, as you can probably imagine, this car demands quite a lot of attention and a lot of people look at it, so being able to put the roof on and kind of like shade yourself from that is quite nice sometimes, you know. But aside from that, it's also a completely different driving experience. So because the sort of rear of the car is now in the car, you can hear that LSD a little bit more clearly. You get a little bit less of the exhaust, and you can actually hear a bit more of the engine. And it just changes everything when you get to know a little bit more about the car, really. So actually, as a driving experience, it's quite nice having the roof on. But there's one fundamental issue, and that is that the engine gets very hot. The whole transmission tunnel gets very hot, and on a cold day, that alone keeps you warm. But when you put the roof on, that heat has nowhere to go, and it's become very quickly a big sweat box in here, and yeah, this jumper is not really helping. But thankfully, Caterham have sort of recognised this, and although the full roof is kind of commonplace, it's very quickly being overtaken by their new half roof, which I'll show you now. And I really like this design. It's a lot quicker to put on because you've just got the poppers at the front and a couple of clips at the back, and that's about it. So I really think that one is the one to go for, because you know it lets all the heat out the back and you don't get wet, which I guess is the main point of a roof. But the one thing I will say is I haven't driven a car that is more sensitive to tyre temperatures than this car. If you've got no heat in the tyres at all, then you are sort of sliding everywhere. It's it's a little bit sort of gut wrenching, butt clenching, all that kind of stuff. But obviously I've not been able to drive this in the wet. I can't imagine it's much fun. I mean, this certainly won't be able to get heat in the tyres when it's raining. So I think you'd be doing a steady 30 or 40 everywhere and absolutely babying that throttle. Join me in what I think is the most comfortable driving experience in a Caterham 420, and that is roof off, doors on. And I just absolutely love being in this place. Like, you got a massive engine up front with loads of torque, and the engine vibrates the entire car, and you kind of start to feel at one. And I know that is super cheesy, but you really do start to feel at one with this car, as it sort of like enwraps you. And then if it's not the engine vibrating your soul, it's the road. You can hear like the diff, you can hear the exhaust because it's just there. Like, just driving around normally in this thing is just so awesome. Like, it's so cool. Having what is quite a big engine for a small car means that the engine braking is very strong. So a quick sort of like flip of the throttle and you're slowing down pretty quickly. You do need to be mindful, however, that your brake lights are not on. So you often get people coming up your rear pretty quick. And then when you're not using the engine for braking, you can use it for accelerating. And oh my word, is it loud at the top end, like, heesh. Like, yeah, all of the power is at the top end, as you'd expect with the naturally aspirated, but you get to maybe 6,000 RPM and then it just kicks you, and it's just so much fun. So here you join me in driving mode 2 or 3, I don't know, the worst one, the most extreme. This is no doors, no roof, and I tell you what, you get a little bit battered by the wind, but once you get a little bit used to it, it's actually strangely quite enjoyable. You're even closer to the exhaust. I mean, I can actually touch it. I can see it breathing. I can even touch the floor if I really wanted to, but I mean, I'm literally just doing a steady 40 mile an hour here, and it's a little bit scary. But if we drop it to second, and you can absolutely petrify yourself. Oh my God! It's so noisy! And my glasses are coming off and everything! I don't know if you can still hear me, but this thing is one hell of an experience. Oh my word! And of course, you still got the grip! Wow! I can't think of another car on the market right now that can give you this amount of excitement, and I'm well within the speed limits. I mean, I'm What a mental car! So there we have it, the 420R, possibly the most bonkers car I have driven on the channel to date, and I absolutely love it. I mean, I know that this video was kind of tongue-in-cheek because it's not that practical, but if you were to buy one, you do have to live with it. So hopefully there were some kind of sensible questions answered in this video, and yeah, I hope you found it useful. And with that, I think we'll leave it there. So if you'd like to see another one of my videos, then I'll pop a link over there. And if you want to see more of me, cars and that kind of stuff, then there's already a speech bubble over there. So make sure you are subscribed to JBCTR. And with that, I'll catch you in the next one.